Hello everyone, I'm Ellie Barnes. Welcome to my craft room. What a beautiful day we're having. Well, it's sunny, it's very cold, but it's much better than it was yesterday with those Arctic winds and rain. I'm going to just check if we've got people coming through and if I'm in the right place. Looks like we are. We're doing okay, so that's great. Now, today we're going to do some more of our fancy fold for this month. We're going to do a gatefold card. So I'm going to pop you down to the page in a moment, pop you down to my desk. We're doing a Z fold today. This is a really quite easy card to make, but it looks spectacular. So let's have a turn you down to the desk and we'll get started, because I don't want to spend as much time waffling away like I did last week. So let's see if I can get you down to the desk. I'll just pop this down. Oh goodness. See if we can get it in the right spot. Oh, it's flipped itself to the roof. We don't want that. Hang on, how do we do? That's better. The last thing you want to do is see the roof. Now let's see if we can stretch you out so you're actually getting more of the craft table and not. We'll put that card aside. That's my version of the card. Come on, up you go. Up you go. There we go. That looks much better. It's not perfect, but at least we've got the desk now rather than all my crap behind it. In fact, I'm going to try and bring you out a bit further. That might be better. That looks better. Does that seem better for you guys? We get it straight. That looks much better for me. Oh, we haven't flipped you. You're back to front. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Upside down and back to front. That looks better, I hope. Yes, that's much better. You don't want to be back to front and upside down. Now let's get this sort of straight. It's not very straight, is it? I've got it a bit crooked today. That might look a bit better. Yes, that's looking better. Now we can get started, because I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. We're going to use 2 stamp sets and dies today. For decoration, we're using, well, both of them are for decoration. We're using the Darling Details and their dies, and we're using the Gorgeously Made and their die. Well, we're only going to use one die out of this. We're going to use this one. So basically we're doing a little bit of stamping and a bit of cutting of what we stamp out, and then, but most of it is all about the fold. So the first thing we've got to do is get our cardstock ready. So I'm bringing in my paper trimmer, and I'm going to start with this. This is Night of Navy, lovely colour. And the first thing I'm going to do is cut it in half, which is how I start all my cards. Today we're doing a long card. So I've got it cut in half, and this piece I'm going to score firstly at, and I will say I have notes here because otherwise I would not know what I'm scoring at and where. I'm going to score it at 7.4. So we'll get the cutting blade out of the road and get this on 7.4. And we're going to score also at, we're going to double that, so it'll be 14.8. That's 14, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. And score that. And then we're going to have another piece to go with the card, and this one needs to be 7 centimetres long. Actually, I'm going to trim it first this way so that I don't waste some of the end. We only want 23 centimetres length for this piece. So you can see I want to keep that piece. I can use that on something else. So I'll throw that aside for later. and we want this piece to be 7 centimetres. So again, cut that at 7 centimetres, and I can pop that away for some projects later. And this one we're going to score at 7.4. 7.4, that's 7.3. There's 7.4. And another 7.4, which again is 14.8. So you're actually scoring the same 2 scores lines. So you can see I've got the same 2 score lines there, but this one's just a bit shorter on the end. So I'm going to pop them aside. Then I'll put that back in because I don't need that length out now. I'm going to use another card stock so that this will help frame my images or designer series paper. So this one I've got to cut into several pieces. I want a frame for each one of these plus each one of these. So the first I'm going to do is 10 centimetres, which is half a centimetre smaller. And then I'm going to cut 14.3. And I'll show you where they're going. So 14.3 goes here. And then I need 2 at 6.9. So these are half a centimetre smaller than the navy cardstock, the Night of Navy. And this is Berry Burst. I love the name of that, Berry Burst. Now what do we want? We want 6.9. If I didn't have my little notes in front of me, I wouldn't know where I was going. So pop that aside for later. That'd make a nice little lining under a sentiment or something. You probably don't know what I mean by that. If I had a sentiment typed on that, I could then put that underneath, just like that. So it's always worth saving even the little bits. That's a little tip along the way. Now this one, I need to cut it thinner to fit on this page. So I'm cutting it half a centimetre smaller. That was 7, so these will be 6.5. So as I said, keep all your bits of paper. You never know when you can use them. And now I'm going to cut this one at 8.4. So we're now putting these on. So 8.4, that does look big compared to that, but we'll have a look. I thought I got my measurements right. I hope I have. Oh, it might work. No, it's a little bit big. We might have to trim that. 8.4. You know why? I didn't do this big enough. I am going to have to get another piece. See, just didn't measure it properly. I've got a piece here that's partly cut. We'll just leave that aside. I'll cut these two and we'll get back to that page. 8.4 and 6. Let me check my notes. Make sure I get this one right. 6.6. And I need 2 of those at 6.6. So we'll just put those that way so I know which way they're going to go on my cardstock, because they look almost square, but they're not. It's 6.2 by 6.6, so I'm just putting them that way. Pop that aside. Let me cut this piece of cardstock. I need, as I said, 7 centimetres. And it needs to be 23.8. I forgot my 8. So that's near 23.8 is there. 2 millimeters under. 0.8 of a centimetres would have made a huge difference. Now let's go back to the scoring of this. So it's 7.4. And then 14.8. So let's see how that works. Close this in again. See if these pieces fit right now. So I'm going to put one there, and that one there. That looks better. Now, my top layer for each one of these. For the bottom piece, we'll do first. So I'll just pop this. We might be able to see the two if I leave it there. That one there. If I move along just a fraction, we can get both in. How's that? So we'll start at this end. Now I'm going to need a piece of paper, a piece of designer series paper, and I'm using the Masterfully Made designer series paper, which goes with one of the stamp sets. And I'm going to cut this one. I'm going to check my measurements twice and cut once instead of check once and cut twice. Let's see. This one needs to be 9.7 centimetres. Okay, it's a bit bigger. So we'll cut this side first. So we need it to be 6.6 again. 6.6. And we want it 9.7. So that is there. And you'll see how I'm just building up layers on this at the moment to decorate the card. Now, I'm going to leave that one for a minute. I will come back to that one. I need a piece of this. And I want a piece that, it's a bit different this, so I'll use this end. And again, it needs to be the same size, so I want 6.6. And I want it to be 9.7. I keep all my little bits in case I need them for something, I can use them somewhere. I'm going to pop that one there. I will turn it round and show you because we are sideways. This is where how the card's going to go. So, and the last piece on that, I want a lovely sky piece. I want some flowers. I'm going to want this end, but I don't want too much blue. I really want the flower part. So I'm actually going to cut. I need it only to be 9.7 centimetres. So just so I get it right, I'm going to cut from about 10 centimetres down so that I'm getting a piece. Is that 10 centimetres? No, I need it 14 centimetres. 10 centimetres is the side measurement. So I've got it up there to 14 centimetres. I'm going to put it here at 14 centimetres now. And I'm going to cut it, no, that's about 5, so I'll cut it to about 15. I'm having a bit of a guess here to get it right so I can get more of the flowers. And I'm going to have to do it this way. Oh yes, working it out. So I wanted it 10 centimetres. Now I've got my lines, I don't think you can see, because I'm actually using this line down the bottom here, this 10 centimetre mark. And I'm going up from the bottom to where I cut. So I've managed to cut out a bit bigger than what I normally would have, because I wanted more of the flowers than the sky. So that's really a complicated way of saying I cut a big square out and I cut the top off. I should have done it that way. It would have been easy. Oh, we're not finished yet. So this is the bottom layer of my card, and you'll see when we put it together. Now I've got to put pieces on this layer. So I'm going to start with these two end bits, and they're going to be white because I'm going to stamp on them. So the first one will be 8.1 centimetres, and that's just, I'm going down slightly. This layer, third layer, is actually 3 millimetres smaller than that layer, the top layer. I've got myself confused. The berry burst is 0.5 centimetre smaller than the Night of Navy, and the top layer is 3 millimetres. So that's 5 millimetres smaller, the berry burst, and the top layer is 3 millimetres smaller. So it's just that gives the berry burst just a little frame around the top layer. So let's go back to our measurements. We're doing 6 by 6 by 6 by 2. And that's not right. What have I done? 6 by 6. No, I haven't. Have I? Oh, I've done this one. Lost myself then. Interrupted myself and lost it. Now these are 6 by 6 by 6 by 2. This one. So 6 by 2 by 6 by 6. I know I'm confusing you. Don't worry. All these measurements you can get if you get the tutorial. Now the tutorial is available. If anyone would like it, they can contact me. Now I've done that round the wrong way. It's got to go. Have I done it right? Did I do 6 by 6 by 6 by 6 maybe? 6 by 1, 2. No, that's 6 by 2. And 6 by 6. Let me see where I've gone wrong. Have I put something I've done wrong here? Measurements wrong. 6 by 6 and 6 by 6. That's the wrong one. And so that'll be wrong, is it? 6 by 6, 6 by 6. Yep, that's 6 by 6 by 6 by 9. Okay. So 6 by 6, pull out my scraps. 6 by 6 by 6 by 9. Okay, let's see if that fits better. Getting myself all confused here again with measurements. Thank God I wrote them down and I've still got them wrong. I've got another scrap of that. No, I'll have to grab a scrap of that one. This is where all your scraps come in handy. And I keep them in a little folder like this. I have to take this piece. It's a card, but we'll have to. The others are too small. So I need it to be 6 by 6 by 9 by 6 by 5. 6 by 9 by 6 by 5. Is that what I've done right? Have I done that right? Are they the same size? They look the same size. So we've got our white, 2 whites. Now on the middle one, let's get a move on. Ellie, come on. We're going to take this one and it's going to be 6 by 6. Now I want the writing up the right way, so I have to do it 6 by 2 on this side. Did I do 6 by 2? No, I'm doing 5 by 2. Oh, silly, 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 silly. Where did I put another piece of that? I had pieces here all over the place. Let's just grab out another piece of that. We should have plenty, I hope. Here's a piece. Well, that's just 6. Oh yes, 6 by 2. It's just under actually. Is it 6? Oh, it might. No, that's 6 by 2. And we'll do 6 by 6. So when the measurements are so close, I think that's going to put my words around the wrong way though. It is. Not very happy with my words upside down. Look, it looks a bit silly. I don't know if you can see, there's words on here. And although they're just for decoration, it does look a bit silly if they're upside down. So I'm just looking to see if I have any more of that designer series paper, and I do not. Must have loved that page. I've gone through it all. Oh well, they'll have to be upside down. So let's get this out of the road. Let's get going. So we've got 2 layers. We're going to do our bottom layer first. So let's glue with my favourite glue, the multi-purpose liquid glue. Let's glue it on. And I did that wrong. So I'm not doing too well today with my measurements. I need to start the day again. I actually haven't had my second coffee. And I know that might sound funny, but I get my first cup of coffee in the morning. I'm so grateful for my first cup of coffee in the morning. It makes such a difference to my life. Now we need this needs to be 9.7, and I didn't cut it down, did I? So grateful to get my first cup of coffee in the morning, because my husband makes that while I make sure everyone's up. The dog, he gets his pills in the morning, get my daughter up for school, and I have first cup of coffee, and that gets me running for the day, or to start the day. And then I have my second cup of coffee, and this is my favourite time to have coffee, is when I've put my daughter on the school bus or out for her, like today they've gone 10-pin bowling. So when she walks out the door, this is when I get to sit down and have my favourite cup of coffee. It's the peaceful, quiet moment before I get into whatever activities I have to do for the day. And this morning, we were running a bit late. We all had a bit of a sleep in, being a Saturday morning. And I never got my second cup of coffee. So, obviously, it made a difference. I can't measure straight today. So there we are. I'm just putting these into their panels. I know it looks like it's a bit of a mix at the moment, but I'm going to show you what we've got in a minute. So that's that lot of panels. So what we're going to do is now we're going to fold the card and we're going to fold it over again. Now I use my bone folder on all my folds, and I use it on the front and the back of the fold. That gives us a nice sharp fold. So there's the base of our card. And now I'm going to take this piece, and we're not going to stamp those, but I will do this one. And even though it's sideways, I think we'll get away with it. I'll pop it there. And this one's going in the middle. Just here. Actually, it's not sideways, it goes this way. Well, there you go, Ellie, you get it right, and it's right. I was right. So this one goes this way. Now I haven't put the other layer on because we're going to stamp on that piece of card. And this one goes this way. So there we go. That's most of the gluing done, most of the cutting done. You'll be glad that's over, I am. And I'm just going to put my glue aside. And this one, it folds, I've got to remember which way it goes. This way. No, it doesn't. It folds this way. I've got it upside down. Can we whip that off quickly? Doesn't matter. It goes this way because we're going to put, this one has the long piece on that side, this one has the long piece on that side, so that when we glue the card together it sits like this. Like that. So we're going to decorate these two pieces. I'll bring my stamp mat in. And I'm going to put a piece of paper over my stamp mat because there will be some bits hanging off the stamp mat. Now the first thing I'm going to do is bring in the Masterfully Made stamps. And they're going to be done to put background colour on these pieces. Now we'll start with, and the colours I'm using today match in beautifully, of course, because that's Stampin' Up's specialty, is to coordinate everything. So I've chosen the colours out of here. I've chosen Berry Burst, Shaded Spruce and Knighted Navy. So I'm going to start with Berry Burst. And I'm going to use this one. And I'm just going to put it on a little bit here and a little bit here. And that's all I'm going to put on that one because that piece is going over here. And that's the bit where you can write to my dear friend, hope your birthday's fantastic, love Ellie, or whatever you want to write. And in this one, I'm just going to put a few, I'm going to stamp off. So stamping off gives you a little bit lighter colour. I'm just going to put a bit of colour on it. Well, stamp off once, Ellie. And I might just put a little bit up here. And I'll pop that aside. And I'll pop my Shaded Spruce aside and use some Berry Burst. And again, I'll stamp off because I don't want it too bright under here. I'm going to put some here And I want to actually a big bit there. And again, that's all I'm going to use on that. I will be using these two colours again in a minute, and I'll show you, but all the colours again in a minute. But we're just doing this and again, I'm using some words here. Now these words are made to look like it's all starting to peel and wear off. But I'll show you when I stamp off. I'll stamp off here. So you can see, if I hold it up, you might see a bit better. It only gives a part image of the words. Yes, that's better, isn't it? So it's a bit hard to read them. And did I get them up? I've got them up the wrong way. No, I haven't. Sometimes I've got to take my glasses off to find out. No, that's the way they go. I was right. Oh, dear me. So again, I'll stamp off, ink up and stamp off, and I'm just going to put that there. So that's just a little piece here. That'll go there. And then I'm going to put some things on top of that. So we can actually glue those two pieces down. My dog is sitting here, my puppy dog. He's a little Jack Russell. He's 15 years old on Monday, so he's into his senior years, and he's got the sneezes today, something shocking. Gosh, I didn't put that too straight, did I? I'll put the top one straight. There we go. Now what I want to do is I want to work out where I'm going to glue this. So I want this to be in the middle of the card down the bottom here. So I'll put some glue here. I've got a bit low, haven't I, for you guys? There you go. Now I'll just let that sit for a minute and glue on. And then I'm going to close both of them and work out where that's going there. And I'm going to put a bit of glue on the end here. And just here too, because I want it to stay. And I don't want to get glue here because then it'll stick in the wrong place. So I'm going to fold that over. And I'll just, while I hold that down, put the lid on my glue so it doesn't dry out. Get rid of my dirty stamp. Right, and now we have the card opening like so. Okay, and it closes nice and flat to go into the envelope. But let's put our final bits of decoration on. I'm bringing in the Dainty Details flower and leaves. And we should have a piece of white cardstock here. And so I can stamp them. And I'll be using, for the flower, the Berry Burst. Now this is two-step stamping, this set. So this is the outline of the flower. I'll bring the mat back in to stamp on. Two-step stamping, so we'll stamp the flower and then using the same colour I'm going to colour the flower, but first of all I'll stamp off to make it lighter. Now I do have to get my head in under here so that I get this in the right place, and we colour the flower like so, and a bit of, that was just a little mark on the stamp. And it's given that, but we'll be right. We're not going to fuss about that today. Or we can. Because I want to give this card to a very dear friend of mine who's just had her birthday. That looks better. And I want it to look nice. I don't throw these little pieces out. I give them to my daughter. She loves making cards and she doesn't mind a few little blemishes. Right, and then the leaves, we do the same. Stamp with full strength for the outside. Stamp off again. And again, I need to get my head over the top so I can see and get this in the right place. And there's my leaves. I'll cut those out in a minute, but before I do that, we'll just get rid of all these dirty stamps before we make a mess. I will stamp the sentiment, and I'm going to use Happy Birthday. Now these sets didn't have a Happy Birthday that fitted. In fact, I don't think that either of them had a Happy Birthday. No, this one, the Darling Details does, but it's not going to fit into into this little, where is it? This little frame that I want to use. So as you can see, I'm going to use this one. And I've only picked up one of those. Where's the other one? Oh, no. The other one's somewhere. I don't know where the other frame's gone. You know, if I can't see it quickly, I will fussy cut. But let's just have a quick look here. I did have them all put aside. Can't see it. I'll fussy cut. We've got them. It isn't. Oh, can't see for looking. It's hiding in this one. There you go. Oh dear me. So this one will fit in there. So that we'll do cutting that one, and let's get on with this card. Oh dear me. I'll have to go and have a coffee, won't I? You know, I'm really grateful I get to do this with you guys because I love making cards and I love sharing what I do. And it's really great to have you watch. Now you see we're going to cut that one out there. This one out here. And this one here. So let's bring in, I'll just grab our little mini cut and emboss machine. That's the beauty of this one. You can just quickly grab and cut. Now I like to cut them into individual pieces to go through. That way I can concentrate on getting everything straight. And with today's dilemmas, I need to do that. Oh my gosh. Let's get this stamp mat out of the road. We've done all our stamping. Open up our little cut and emboss machine. And we'll start with the leaves because they're at the top. So it's just a matter of placing your die on. As you know, you've seen me do this hundreds of times. Place the die on and make a sandwich. Put what you're cutting out in the middle of your two white or two clear plates, and where did the leaves go? They're here. And we're going to do the flowers, the flower, one flower today. You know, if I'd got this straight, got this right at the first time with my cutting and my sizes, which were all written down and I still got them wrong. This is actually a very quick card to make. So there's my flowers. I'll put my die aside so I don't lose it again. It was hiding on me. And happy birthday. And I actually have cut. See, sometimes this happens. I've cut that. Oh, it's going. We can make it work, I think. We'll make it work. I've cut that a bit close to the corner. Didn't allow myself enough room for cutting, but we'll make it work. There we go. Pop him aside. So we have, pop my die aside. It's a little bit crooked because I was trying to make him work, but it'll be right. Doesn't matter, we'll make it work. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some dimensionals. Now I've got all these little bits left over, so I'm going to use them up because you don't need to waste any of it. So we'll just pop that one along like that. Oh, that's pretty good. And on my leaves, I might be able to use some of these. Oh, this one's got some nice edge bits. So let's cut some of those edge bits off. They'll look good. They'll make my leaves work. Oh, that was a big. We'll cut a small one. And a little one for that one. So let's pop our leaves on the front of the card first. Just peel off these bits. You need good nails really to be doing the peeling. Now I'm just going to pop this along here. Now, our flower. It's just going to sit. We've got it too far onto the left. I might just trim that one back a bit so I can sit it a bit closer. There we go. That'll flatten down. That's just because I've pulled it up. And our happy birthday. And I'm just going to slide him in there. And it doesn't matter that he's not quite perfect because it's got jagged edges anyhow. And it's supposed to be a bit of a rough and ready card. What have we got? We'll use a couple of these. Get those bits out of the road now. And just on this end, I'm going to put a little drop of glue. So that it glues onto the flower. And we're going to pop this just about there. How's that? So there's our card, all finished. So again, as I said, not too difficult, just a matter of getting your measurements right. And once you've got all your measurements right and it all glued down, it's just a matter of decorating. And remembering to reverse big at the bottom and big at the top. Big at the bottom on the right, big at the top on the left. And then you've got that lovely Z fold. So there's your Z fold. Okay. All right, that's it for today. Let's turn you back to me. Just flip you around. That was very quick, so hopefully I haven't made you too dizzy. Hopefully you've enjoyed that. I'm still here. I'm going to go and have my coffee, and I'm going to get this card ready to give to my friend this week. Hopefully it's a card that you think you can make at home. As I said, the measurements are quite easy. They are in my newsletter, so if you want to get a copy of the details of the measurements and how to make the card, just subscribe to my newsletter. Now, I haven't got all my techo stuff sorted out, so I'm not really techo. Are you? I'm not. So why don't you just give me a message and I'll arrange to send you a copy of my newsletter, and hopefully this time next month we'll be all up and running with the newsletter online. All right. Have a good weekend. I'll be here next week with another fancy fold. It'll be an easy one. Again, I'm trying to make them so that you can do them at home too. During the week you might see some more difficult ones. There might even be some easier ones. But feel free to pop in and have a look at what I've got, what I'm making for the week. And I'll show you another fold next week. Have a beautiful weekend, and I'll look forward to seeing you next Saturday. Bye-bye.